Welcome into the Stardom Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Steph McKinney, joined as always by Ash Mitchell and Jacob Stevens. Guys, we're, I guess, at the halfway point now that Week 7 is behind us. How are you guys feeling about all your teams? Are you in a situation where you're looking at playoffs across the board, or give me a little breakdown of y'all's standings right now?
Ashton, I'll let you start with your best league. Your league, sorry. How's that going again?
So I'm commissioning 2 leagues, and the one that you guys are in with me is probably my worst league. And I've put up points. I think I have the 4th highest points in the league, but I'm apparently playing everyone on their best week. So
what was your record again?
I don't
just so the
numbers
listeners
are
can know.
Very finicky here. It doesn't really matter. It's just I can do better. There's only up from here. So I won't be making the playoffs in that league unless miracles happen.
You gotta believe.
I did pick up Antonio Brown, so hopefully there's some light at the end of the tunnel with that, but we'll see. My other leagues, I'm doing okay. I think I'm playoff bound for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Coincidentally, my worst league, it's actually our main league. I am the highest scorer in the league, and I am 3-4. So I feel your pain, Ashton, and I hate it.
It's a cruel world out there, man. Fantasy.
It's not cool. It's definitely not cool. But I'm definitely playoff bound in all the other ones except for that one. The only one, or the main one I care about the most, because we got that sweet trophy, and I don't want that toilet.
Oh no, no one does.
It'd be pretty hard to be the highest scoring team and get last place, get that toilet trophy.
You'd be surprised.
But if you could do it, I'd be very, very impressed.
Hold his beer.
Yeah, I'm actually positive in all my leagues, so feeling good about that. Coming off a big win against Ashton in the aforementioned league we just talked about.
Your garbage time points, which were...
Hey man, you get your points wherever you can take them,
Yeah, it's great.
It's true. It's so true.
But yeah, I feel like I'm in a good spot. It tends to be the trend over these last couple of years. My teams start out really, really slow. Like I get really behind and then have to make a deep push towards the end of the league. But I'm feeling good this year because it doesn't seem like that's the situation I'm in. So overall, I'm happy about all my teams so far. But there's a lot of teams that I think the main league that we're talking about with the cool trophy, I think we're all in good position to see ourselves in the playoffs. We all, I think, have probably 3 of the top 4 or 5 strongest teams in the league. So, we could see some interesting podcasts down the line here once playoffs come around. Maybe we'll see some head-to-head matchups.
Some people not showing up to the podcast because they're upset about what happened. Who knows? The possibilities are endless.
Most likely me in that situation.
Yeah. But today we have a little bit of a different episode. We're going to be talking about some of our actual leagues that we're in and some of the trades that we've seen take place this week as well as in the previous weeks. We're going to be talking about, what we think of the trades, who we think maybe won those trades, the value that we see from each of the players, and so on and so forth. And there's a little bit of different, we're talking redraft leagues as well as dynasty. So, you're going to get a little bit of dynasty analysis as well. So I think that'll be fun. But let's jump into the news first.
News and notes.
So some exciting news for all of the Christian McCaffrey owners there. It seems like you finally might see some light at the end of the tunnel. It's been very frustrating if you are that Christian McCaffrey owner. You went out and got him as a first pick. You thought this guy was, the best player in fantasy. This was your league winner, and then goes out and gets hurt and has been out for quite a while now. And yeah, as of yesterday, it wasn't looking so great for him to return this week. But recent news came out today. He ran out onto the field with a no contact jersey on, but was soon seen thereafter taking the no contact jersey off and looked like he was back in practice. So They do have the Thursday night game this week. So his status is still up in the air. There's nothing guaranteed as of yet, but this is
There's
the
a
first,
chance. You're
this is
saying
the
there's a
first
chance.
positive signs that you might see some Christian McCaffrey. And it might be needed after the disappearance of Mike Davis.
It was
last
one
week.
game. Okay, give him a break.
Hey man, his spell might be wearing off. The next one is, we talked about it a little bit last week. Antonio Brown. There was rumblings that he was going to sign with Tampa Bay, and it is now official. He has signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They continue to add on to their wily old veteran squad. They now have completed the Tom Brady, Gronkowski, LaShawn McCoy, and now Antonio Brown. So they continue to add to the average age of player on the roster. Just continues to go up and up and up. But I guess
that's why it's Ashton's favorite team.
He's not designated to actually return to play until next week. But I mean, we can talk a little bit for what y'all's value. What do you think of AB's value here? We saw Chris Godwin will miss this week with a thumb injury. But say they're all healthy, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, now Antonio Brown, and then Gronk's been coming on as of late. What do you see this kind of receiving core looking like? Do they all hold value? What does that value look like? Just give me your quick analysis on them.
I'll try to be brief. It's kind of hard to gauge right now. I mean, you want to evaluate and compare Antonio Brown's ability when he was on the Pats, right? I mean, he was only on there for, 27, 29 snaps, and he put up numbers. And he had only been with the team for like 5-10 minutes. I mean, he wasn't there very long and was already making an impact. I still think he has that capability, and that's why they brought him into Tampa Bay. It's clear that Tom Brady wants him there, wants more of a wide range threat for this offense. You're not seeing the use out of Mike Evans that you would expect to see this year. Chris Godwin's in and out with injury. He's out again now with his finger.
Yeah, it's surgery.
Scotty Miller, right? And yeah, which means typically, there's some sort of foreign replacement in that finger or alignment adjustments needed for the finger itself. So that could be more than a week out easily.
Yep.
But I mean, they're going to use them. Bruce Arians said that he was concerned about, not concerned, that he wasn't going to tolerate any unsportsmanlike issue. If he's not a team player, he's going to be gone, so on and so forth, which, is exactly what you expect from Bruce in this situation. But I mean, if AB can keep his head on straight, knock on wood, and Tom Brady can keep him calm and collective, and I think he's going to have a good impact on this offense. So that's why I picked him up in at least 2 of my leagues.
I think Stephen got him in one league too.
Yeah, Jacob, did you pick him up?
No, I didn't get him anywhere.
No, okay.
Because you guys got him.
So I guess the question real quick is, out of those 3 wide receiving options that we're talking about, to me personally, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think Scotty Miller as of next week can be non-rostered. He doesn't need to be on anybody's team. Like, he's going to be the 4th wide receiver and the 5th receiving option if you consider Gronk. So I don't think he needs to be rostered after this week. If you want to roster him,
he could be played this week
for flex play with Godwin out and AB not there yet, you can go for it. But with the 3 receiving options that we're talking about, Godwin, Evans, and now Antonio Brown, is there one that you kind of think is above the rest that you prefer to have?
I think Evans is going to take the back seat and lose out on some fantasy points. I think the pecking order is going to be Godwin, AB, and then Evans, and he's just going to be touchdown dependent, like we kind of saw him a bit so far this year. I know Brady can air it out, but he tends to be a smarter player and doesn't take the shots unless he needs to. So, and AB is he just gets open. The guy is a freak. He's so good. I think he's going to definitely fit well with Tom Brady. Like Ashton was talking about, he had 1 game with him. He had like 60 yards and a touchdown. I expect him
coming
to
off
probably
like
take.
1 day of practice or something.
Yeah, literally.
Clearly,
So-
he doesn't need to get acquainted or anything like that.
Right. So I think he's gonna probably be number 2 on the fantasy value there, but I think he's probably gonna be probably a wide receiver 2
Ashton, what about yourself? Is there one that you think is clearly above the
or
others?
3, probably.
Well, I mean, talent-wise, AB is better than all of them. But as far as how this situation I kind of foresee unfolding, I think Bruce Arians is going to stick to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin up top. He's going to slowly and methodically implement AB into this situation, and AB is going to have to earn the trust of the team and Bruce Arians. So I think at first, if someone's going to be taking a hit, it's probably going to be Mike Evans. But now with Chris Godwin out, I think he's probably going to miss at least 2 weeks with this finger injury. AB could come in and start to take, a more significant role than anticipated. So it all depends on Chris Godwin's time out with his injury, but all of them healthy, I think Mike Evans would take the bigger hit. I mean, obviously Scotty Miller's not going to be as useful with AB
Right.
on, but even then, I think Bruce Arians might stick with Scotty Miller for a little while because he's
Been
all
there.
about that
Knows the system.
team player mindset. So
To me, I think Chris Godwin's the clear top option here. I'm not as high as y'all are. Y'all seem to be on Antonio Brown. I know I picked him up in our dynasty league just because we have huge rosters. Like I felt like I could afford to drop someone just to take the chance on him. But honestly, in redraft leagues with smaller rosters, if you were able to get Antonio Brown, I would honestly try to be shopping him away, trading him to those people who are really, really high on Antonio Brown and think that he's going to come back and be
Before he plays, or are you saying you want to wait and see a game?
I would try to trade him like now before he plays, before you see what they got, just on the potential, just on like, those big Antonio Brown fans that think he's going to come back and be, just the Antonio Brown he was before, he took the year off, or I guess it's been, a year and a half now for where we've seen Antonio Brown. So I would rather trade away and take the chance that, because I think more likely result of this is going to be he's going to be a decent player. He's going to be a decent value in fantasy, but he's not going to be elite.
Well, like your question before, of the 3, like where do you think he slides into this offense in particular?
I mean, I think you'll see big games from Antonio Brown. I think you'll see some touchdowns from him, but I think it's going to be inconsistent. You're not going to know what you're going to get week in and week out. So I think I'd rather take the person that's going to be super high up on Antonio Brown, get that value for him now, and take the chance that, if he does explode, great. I got the value. But I think the more sure thing is to try to trade him now before you see what actually unfolds there. There's just so many there's already a lot of receiving options in Tampa Bay. Now you add Antonio Brown to the mix. And I think it just gets a little bit more murky. So I think if someone offers you the right trade for Antonio Brown, I try to trade him away.
what are you looking to get for Antonio Brown at this point?
Here you go. I got one.
I would take a wide receiver
AB
too.
for Mike Evans.
Yeah, I take Mike Evans. But I mean, I don't want part of that Tampa Bay offense outside of Ronald Jones and Chris Godwin.
Well, Ronald Jones took a big step back this
inconsistent.
week too.
Yeah, but he's still running great. I'm not worried about that. I think if I could get a wide receiver 2, someone that maybe had a down week in exchange for Antonio Brown, I would jump on that.
Like DJ Chark, or is that too low?
I think that's a little bit too low. Someone a little bit more consistent.
Okay.
All right. The next piece, the last piece of news here is Odell Beckham Jr., another controversial wide receiver here, has confirmed that he has tore his ACL and is out for the remainder of the season. Baker Mayfield actually looked a lot better once Odell Beckham left.
He was so happy.
Maybe this is a bump up for Baker.
It might be, man. He's not having to force feed him the ball anymore or feel that way. I can't remember what I was listening to, but they noted that Baker went over, he threw a touchdown to some no name on the team and went over to Landry and OBJ, don't worry, I'm going to get you some touchdowns too. It's take the throws you take that are there for you. Don't force the ball. And you'll be the Baker that you were 2 years ago when he was really good and he looked like a rising star.
Yep. All right, let's jump
Wait.
into.
There's one more piece of news.
Sure. What do you got?
It's Des Bryant, man. You got to tell him a partial welcome back to the Ravens
Sure.
practice squad.
So he went from practicing with high school varsity teams to Ravens
The practice
squad. That's great. Sure.
He's still practicing, baby. He's gonna get there.
We can spend a little bit more time on him if he makes it to the active roster, but
We'll talk about him next week.
That's enough for Des for now.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to be talking some trades that we've seen across the different leagues that we're in. We're going to be going over them. They're from this week as well as past weeks, so the values might have changed. I don't have the weeks written down, so we'll just discuss their values as they are now, and we'll go from there. But let's start it off. We have a couple dynasty, and then we have a couple redraft leagues. Let's do the redraft leagues first, and then we'll separate the dynasty to the end just to kind of keep us in a format here so we're not just all over the board. But let's start off with the first one. I believe this was actually a trade that we saw today or yesterday.
Yep,
this
today.
was actually this week trade. And this is actually in a standard league that we're in, standard scoring redraft league. So the trade was, and obviously, like, we're not going to break down everybody's complete rosters and like how do their makeup. We're just going to be talking about the players that were actually traded. But obviously, when it comes to trades, like your roster makeup is going to take a big play into this. But the trade was James Conner straight up for Julio and Preston Williams. Either of you guys can start it off, but just what do y'all think on that side? Who do you think won that trade? What do you think their values are?
I mean, we're not evaluating the full team's
right.
setup here. We're just
trade, from face value.
Play. Okay.
Yeah.
It's tough to say because Julio's been so in and out of injuries this year, but James Conner, as you know, is the glass man. But I value running backs a lot higher. And but I don't think it's like too far off of a trade. Like we said, depends on your team. But if you need a running back, I think Preston Williams is nothing to me.
Yeah.
So it's basically Julio for James Conner.
Right. That's how I look at it too.
Yeah, it's clear that one team was looking for consistency and the other team was looking for higher ceiling. So someone needed that extra boom, that they can hopefully get every other week or two. And they're looking to get that essentially out of Julio in this situation. And James Conner is just that you want that consistent play.
Right. But I think when you actually look at Julio's year so far, outside of the two games where, so he missed 2 games, Chicago and Carolina, week 3 and week 5. But his 2 bad games were the games that he got injured in to lead up to those games that he missed. Week 2 at Dallas, he scored 3 points, but was out of the game early. And then week 4 at Green Bay, again, he was in and out of the game, missed most of the game. That was another disappointing week. But if you take those games out and you see the games that he was actually healthy, you got 20 points in week 1, 29 points in week 6, and 13 points last week. So, I mean, he's been the Julio that you drafted him to be when he's healthy. Like, he's a top 5 wide receiver when he's healthy. And it looks like now he's healthy
this week.
So would you which
yeah,
end
but
would you
you're
want to
taking
be?
the same injury concern with James Conner. You have a lot more
I know
longevity with injuries.
Yeah, James Conner is like the talent and running back that you would love to have, but he's never healthy. And God bless him, he's been through a lot. But I've been shocked and very pleased with James Conner this year. I mean, he's been able to stay on the field. So I don't know. It's a different situation right now. But
He's running back 15 on the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, for me, if I had Julio, I would be pretty desperate for a running back to trade for James Conner. I don't think I could just give him up willy nilly because where do you draft Julio? What round? 2 round? 2nd round?
I mean,
Yeah,
probably
into the first
round.
Exactly.
Depending on your league.
But
and especially in a standard league, like Julio is even more valuable. Like he gets 100-yard games, like it's nothing. Like that's all. He's made a career just getting 100-yard games. So I don't know. I think this one at face value looks pretty even across the board to me. Like if you need a running back, James Conner. If you need a wide receiver, Julio. Like it doesn't seem super biased to one end.
Preston Williams really put it over the top for you, though, right?
Yeah, Preston Williams, it was nothing to me. I don't even know why he was included in this trade. But let's jump over to the next one. We'll make these brief, but this one's a little bit more complicated. There's 4 relevant players here rather than technically 2. Preston Williams we ruled out, but another standard redraft league.
No. I'm sorry. You're going scan. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We got Allen Robinson as well as Tyler Boyd sending them along for AJ Green and Kenyon Drake. Now, keep in mind this was not a trade from this week. So this was a trade, I believe, 2 weeks ago, maybe.
It was before Drake had his best game of the year.
Before the Cowboys game. So yeah, it's probably 2 weeks ago.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think this is probably a great trade for whoever got Allen Robinson and Tyler Boyd. And
but this was also before AJ Green was coming along and looking a lot better. But I mean, obviously, I think Allen Robinson is the most valuable piece out of all 4 of these. He seems to be the guy that you'd want out of all of them. But AJ Green has looked better these last 2 weeks. He's coming along. I think he's startable as a flex option now.
Yep, he's back.
But I still think you rank Tyler Boyd higher than AJ Green. So I feel like at this point on, like, we got Drake injured now. Looks like Chase Edmonds, even when Kenyon Drake comes back, is going to have a bigger role here.
I knew it was coming.
So at this point, I mean, the one team clearly won, right?
Honestly, I was super disappointed in Kenyon Drake. Okay, guys, it was me. I did it. I made the trade. I traded him away. I was sick of his nonsense, and I just didn't need him. I didn't need him in my life anymore. I had Derrick Henry and Chris Carson, and I was a little weak on the wide receiver. But now I'm looking at it right here. Tyler Boyd's a wide receiver 1. He's the 12th wide receiver all on the board right now. He's doing well with Burrow, but Burrow, obviously, he's throwing it a billion times a game. But yeah, so looking at it now, it's
is standard though. So he's wide receiver 17.
Who?
You always do that. Are you on standard or half point?
Oh, I'm at half point.
I have a lot of different scoring formats here, but Tyler Boyd, I mean, still wide receiver.
I'm
17.
always the other end of that. I'm always in standard. Got
wide
me.
Receiver 17, and then Allen Robinson, wide receiver 19, in standard for AJ Green, who's coming along, and Kenyon Drake is now injured, and should still be probably back end wide receiver 2. I mean, running back 2, front end running back 3 when he comes back. Like it's tough to play Kenyon Drake even when he does come back.
I think Chase Edmonds he's gonna take this role and run with it, literally, because he is a running back.
He did that last year though when he got the chance, and they still went with their guy when he came back.
Well, Drake, when they traded for Drake, are you talking about Johnson?
No, I'm even saying when Drake was hurt towards the end of the year when he came in, he missed the game. Chase Edmonds came in and ran for 3 touchdowns. Had some crazy game.
I thought that was the David Johnson. I thought that was before Drake got there.
Pretty sure it's towards the end of the season, but
either way, I think it's time for Chase Edmonds, and that leads us right into this next one.
All right, so the next one we have here is just we're gonna do the standard redraft half point first. So we got another redraft, but this one's half point PPR.
Wait.
We're gonna do the 2 dynasty or the 3 dynasties last. But yeah,
we'll get to the Chase 2 standards.
Yeah, we're gonna do the last half point. This is the one that actually took place today. This is another one of yours, Jacob. It's a half point redraft league. On one side, it's Ezekiel Elliott and Logan Thomas in exchange for Antonio Gibson, Noah Fant, and Devontae Parker. Ash, I'll let you lead us off on this one, just because I think Jacob and I talked about this one a little bit earlier. So keep in mind, this took place today. This is as of right now.
Well, I was talking to Jacob today about trading. I have Zeke in one of my leagues. You guys are in it, and I don't know, man. Zeke, I'm worried about Zeke's situation right now.
It's scary.
It is very scary, and Jerry Jones has been talking about making some like massive trade deal, and who knows who he's eyeing to bring in. But I'm
I heard it's
concerned.
offensive lineman, and then Zeke's just gonna.
Well, good. I mean, if that's the case, then great. I mean, they need it because he is struggling right now. And I think it's more, a lot of it's mental in his situation. I think he's kind of just like defeated, and rightfully so. I mean, they're horrible this year, and
All
Dak's
right,
out.
easy
and,
guy, easy.
As of Dak going down, okay?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, no, they were great with Dak in. Well,
Just say injuries
Offense is
included,
good.
okay?
better
And
with
move
Dak
on.
in. But I'm concerned because Zeke was my RB1 in that league, and I'm not getting what I need to get out of him, and it's hurt me offensively. So I don't know. I mean, Gibson's doing well. Fant is Fant, and Parker, with that situation. I don't know.
Coming in.
Tua coming in.
Gonna happen.
I haven't had enough to really say how I feel on that with Tua's time on the field with that. But I mean, I trust that they're keeping Tua on for a reason and named him the starter for the rest of the season. So
Which side of it do you want, Ashton? Tell me if I'm a loser.
my gut
now
wants
have
to
Derrick
say
Henry
my
and-
gut
and
wants to
Zeke.
say Zeke and Logan Thomas is the side that I want, but I don't know. I think it
Scary.
I'd
It's all
probably
murky.
it's a safer side going with Gibson, Fant, and Parker at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say no to like one of the elite running backs. Like if you get one of those like top 5 guys, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Zeke, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry. Like if you get one of those guys, it's hard to like not trade away pieces for them, especially if they're not like one of your top options. Like Antonio Gibson obviously had a great week against Dallas. He finally got the carries. It seemed like things were going his way. Noah Fant, we've seen great games from him. Now he looks banged up. He looks like he can't stay on the field. So you're kind of playing for, him to get healthy. And then you don't know what's going to happen with Devontae Parker now that Tua is the starter. So there's a lot of uncertainty on the one side, but there's also uncertainty about like on the other side with Zeke, like your whole trade is just for Zeke. Like
Correct.
I think you
I
have.
think Logan Thomas holds his weight here. I mean,
He has
I was
versatility.
hype on him a
George
while ago, and
Kittle,
you guys were
Kittle.
pushing against it, and now he's starting to shine through, and he's having a good connection with Kyle Allen. So
Yeah,
I mean,
Logan
I also
Thomas-
have George Kittle in that league, so
So I mean, for
Logan
Zeke,
Thomas
it's
won't
like
see the lineup.
you're believing Zeke is going to be that's still top 5 option rest of the season.
I don't know. My
Maybe
argument,
not- maybe
my
not for
argument
the
with
next
that,
couple weeks, okay.
my argument
Zach
with
Martin's coming back, okay,
Right.
and once that happens, I think that's going to make a huge shift because
Yeah,
I mean,
he has a concussion. It's not like it's a long term
Right.
injury.
right. So I'm thinking he's
But
going to
that's
get
the
back.
one piece of the line that he has. Everything else is in shambles.
Not
He's missing
complete
his 2
shambles, but
starting
yeah.
tackles for the rest of the
He's
year.
he's the glue that keeps it together. Okay.
Okay.
I'm thinking, they are trying to change things up there, and I think they're gonna figure it out. And Zeke is still the focus of that offense. Andy Dalton's also obviously been super disappointing, but so that was just my thinking that if I have Zeke bounces back, even if it's in a couple weeks, and I have Zeke and Derrick Henry as my 1-2 punch of running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basically betting on Zeke.
Fair enough. All right, now we have 3 dynasty trades to go through. So a little bit different thought process here. I mean, these guys are, you're playing the long game here. Not only do you want to win this year, but you want to like plan for the future. You want to know what their value is going forward in years to come. So we'll start with the first one. All of these dynasty trades are in a half-point scoring format as well. But we'll talk about someone that we were just talking about earlier, Chase Edmonds and Philip Lindsay, in return for Tyler Lockett and Zach Moss. Either one of you guys, just jump in when you feel it.
I'll hop in here. I would 100% want to be on the Lockett side. When I saw this trade, I thought it was crazy at first. Okay, and then I looked at it a little bit more, and the Chase Edmonds value that he's about to have, and the fact that Kenyon Drake's only on a 1-year deal, and hoping that the Cardinals believe in Edmonds and that will provide a lot of value for a running team. But I thought what I thought was surprising was that I would say only had to give up Edmonds and Lindsey for Lockett another piece, because after Lockett just came off the biggest game of his life. It was over 50 points in some formats.
Ashton said
Oh,
Okay. We diving down that rabbit
We're
hole.
doing that.
I knew
Okay.
this was gonna happen. That's all right.
Set of the week.
That's all right.
now
setting
he's
it up.
trading for.
He was telling everybody, look, you don't like let me get him though. Yeah, I would definitely want to be on the Lockett side of that, just because he's a superstar and he's gonna be with Russell Wilson for a few more years, and that's a lot of value, a lot of touchdowns.
I mean,
you, Stefan?
Okay, Ashton looked like he was talking, but I'll go ahead. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like the Tyler Lockett side as well. Zach Moss, I mean,
could he be something there?
Zach
Like
Moss.
Singletary is obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, they're Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. They're both young. Like Devin Singletary is in his second year. Zach Moss is in his rookie year. Neither of them look like the clear-cut guy. So I think they're just, they're just pieces. They might have a few good games here and there, but they don't mean much to me.
I really want to know your take on Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, so I think Philip Lindsay's the more interesting piece of that side. Chase Edmonds, I think he'll give you some good value over these next couple of weeks and maybe for the rest of the season. But I don't see Chase Edmonds having value in years to come. I think he'll always be a handcuff. I don't think he'll ever lead the Cardinals and be like their guy, like a workhorse back. So he'll always just kind of be a plug and play in the right situation. But Philip Lindsay, he's interesting because you just don't know. Like Melvin Gordon, he's great, and it seems like he's the guy when he's staying out of trouble. But you don't know that Denver's bought in long term with Melvin Gordon. They didn't give him the long term extension that he was hoping for when he left LA. So you don't know. You don't know what that situation looks like. So Philip Lindsay, I think, probably has the most value on that side. But I think, Tyler Lockett's the clear best fantasy option in this trade. And he should probably give you, he's 28 now. So I think he'll probably give you this year, next year, and he'll be decent the following year. Like wide receivers by the time they hit 30 tend to kind of start to fall off a little bit, get a little bit slower. Yeah. He's a smaller wide receiver to begin with. So losing his speed would be a big piece to him. But yeah, I think he's a top tier option for this year and next year. So yeah, I think the Tyler Lockett side is the more valuable side here. But this trade could completely turn the other way next year or the following, because Philip Lindsay's a young running back, and if he turns out to be the guy that Denver goes with, he could be great.
Yeah, this was a situation where, one team was desperate for running back help. The other team was looking for a boost in wide receivers. The Moss was just an addition to the trade, in the sense that he could be useful down the road. Lockett's obviously the top key in this trade. But I'm really high on Chase Edmonds. I think I'm highest out of all three of us here. I believe he's RB1 talent for sure, especially with Arizona offense. It's just a matter of getting the opportunity. And I know you said, Stefan, that he had it last year, and they still went with rolling back out with Kenyon Drake. But they keep using Chase Edmonds. And I think if he can showcase his talent with this opportunity coming up, then it's going to be a hard job for Kenyon Drake to come back and take over. Philip Lindsay,
especially the way he's played this year.
Yeah, Philip Lindsay, I think he's a workhorse. How many years has he gone over? Didn't he have 1,000
years?
Yeah, he's a dependable running back. It's just a matter of, they brought in Melvin Gordon for a reason. They paid him top dollar for a reason. It's just, he's in a split backfield right now. So maybe if he was in another setup and another team, that opportunity would be a little bit different for him. But it is what it is for him right now. But that's why this is a bigger trade in Dynasty, because you have that long-term
forever.
Opportunity with him. So
Yeah.
it worked out for both people in the trade for what they needed. So I think the value holds out on each side.
Yeah. And the one thing you can get away with in Dynasty trades is like the rookies, regardless of how good they're performing this year, like with Zach Moss, they always hold some sort of value just because there's always the what if. Like he's a rookie, he's got his whole career ahead of him. He could end up being fantastic. And that's a value in of itself. So that little piece might just be the cherry on top that you need.
There was conversation with a draft pick involved in this trade, but we needed fillers for the weeks coming up, so we couldn't do that.
Gotcha. All right, let's do one more here. There's some big names in this one. So we got Joe Mixon. This one was actually a few weeks back. I think this was week 3 or week 4, somewhat really early on in the season. Joe Mixon and Will Fuller in exchange for Todd Gurley and DJ Moore. Again, this is a dynasty half point situation here.
Oh, I like Mixon. I think I think the Bengals are gonna keep working on that offensive line. Gurley is just, his dynasty value is nothing. Means nothing to me pretty much. I think you got this year and maybe next year of him getting some touchdowns. And Will Fuller has proved to be a decent wide receiver. DJ Moore is kind of definitely taking a step back, I think people would say, compared to what his expectations were coming into this season. So I would definitely want to be on the Joe Mixon. I think how old is Joe Mixon? 25, 26? He's just or maybe younger. He's just a young little guy, and he's super talented. They love him. He just got paid. Gurley's on a 1-year deal. How many?
He's 24 years old. He just signed a 4-year deal.
That's great. He's younger than all of us. So yeah, I would definitely want to be on the Mixon Fuller side. But for the Gurley Moore, I think the Gurley owner is probably looking at, or the new Gurley owner is probably looking at maybe trying to make a move this year while Gurley's still getting these touchdowns and playing for a decent offense.
Yeah, I'm on the Mixon Fuller side in a dynasty setup for this trade. Like Jacob said, if you're receiving Gurley Moore, you're looking to increase your point value right off the bat. But I don't know. I mean, I think more so they wanted more touchdown dependency in this league. So was this half point?
Yeah, half point.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, because you're not seeing him get the receiving work really. So it's kind
of
But Mixon's been he's been injured a bit this year too. I'm sure. I think he was out. Wasn't he out last? Yeah, he was out last week. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I can see both sides, but I like Mixon and Fuller better.
Maybe that person just wanted those accidental touchdowns coming in.
Those game-losing touchdowns.
Those game-losing touchdowns.
I still think that's ridiculous to blame that on Gurley. It's like, look, defense, make somewhat of a stop within like a minute and a half left. Like, screw you guys.
Yeah, this trade was actually mine, so obviously I lean on the Mixon and Fuller side. So we don't really need to.
Good job.
All right. We all concur.
Thank you. I did well. All right, let's jump into the first half of matchups here. We'll start off with the Thursday matchup to kind of lead us off. We have Atlanta and Carolina. On the Atlanta side, like obviously they just can't win a game at the end of the game for some reason. And on the Carolina side, we could see Christian McCaffrey back. So let's start off on the Atlanta side. We talked about Gurley. He just tends to find the end zone. So as long as he continues to do that, he has 7 touchdowns in 7 games. So
I see him adding to that against a pretty abysmal Carolina run defense. Yep. But other than that, man, Carolina has been, I think, one of the most surprising teams this year. We're not expecting what Teddy has done, airing it out. And I think he's going to air it out tonight or Thursday night. I think he's a fringe or QB1. I mean, if CMC's in, obviously, I mean, you got to start him. Matt Rule has come out and said that Mike Davis has played so well that he's still going to get some touches. Yep. You're going to want to wait and see what that looks like once CMC comes back, I think. I don't know if I'd start Mike Davis if CMC is going to get the full load, but maybe he won't. He's coming off the injury. Maybe it will be more split, and it'll be enough for both of them. DJ Moore, we're starting him. Robbie Anderson. I think I just completely left the Atlanta side talking about these guys. Sorry. But honestly, this is who do you think the toughest matchup is? Is it for Matt Ryan? Are you starting Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
They've been pretty good against QBs.
Yeah, I mean, every game for Atlanta seems to be back and forth. They're going to throw the ball. Matt Ryan hasn't been the greatest, but Julio and Ridley are getting it done. Like, you're playing Julio and Ridley, no doubt. And Hayden Hurst is coming to himself. It looks like these last 2 weeks he's had better weeks. It seems like he's more involved. He's kind of getting the hang of this offense. So
when Julio's there, everyone is better. Like, that's just true. The way it is.
Especially Matt Ryan. I mean, Matt Ryan's game increases tremendously when Julio's on the field.
So I guess the biggest question is, because you're pretty confident in this matchup, but the only thing is Mike Davis, who you're riding high on, he was winning you weeks. We talked about him as a great waiver pickup, but he had his most disappointing week last week. Only scored 6.1 points and half point. If CMC is not a go and you get Mike Davis against Atlanta, are you still plugging him into your lineup with confidence?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I scratched it off as a bad week and put him right back in there.
Yeah. I mean, you see even these top guys that you drafted have bad weeks. Like, you played Josh Jacobs last week. You know, you weren't happy with it either, but you're not going to take Josh Jacobs out of your lineup.
Correct.
All right, let's jump into the next one here. We have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers. We should see Dalvin Cook back. So no longer will it be Alexander Mattison leading that backfield. And on the Green Bay side, Aaron Jones could possibly be back. So hopefully both these teams getting their starters back. But let's start on the Minnesota side. We've seen Adam Thielen be great all year. You see these blow-up games from Justin Jefferson. Do you take the chance on Justin Jefferson for the hope that you get the blow-up game?
Depending on your roster setup, what other options you have. But yeah, I mean, he's too talented to say he doesn't have potential in this game. I mean, even with Green Bay,
they've got
I don't know. I can see Cousins and
corners.
these wide receivers actually coming out and making this more of a shootout than anticipated.
Do you remember week 1? Was it week 1 they played?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That
3 points.
That wasn't that good.
That week. But I mean, it was week 1. He was a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think Justin Jefferson he's pretty much. I don't know. I'm pretty confident in him. I think he does have a tough matchup here, and if you can pivot from him, you might want to.
Yeah.
They've only given up 2 top 12 performances total, like with all wide receivers, all the points this year. So it's kind of iffy. How about Big Irv Smith?
Yeah, I mean, Irv Smith he's talented. Like, he was a first round draft pick. People had big hopes for him coming out of Alabama, and we thought he was going to take over earlier for Kyle Rudolph. But it seems like, they're starting to get him involved a little bit more over these last 2 weeks. So I think he becomes more of a possible tight end play.
Depending on matchup, probably.
Yeah, depending on the right matchup.
This isn't a good matchup. This is not a great matchup for him. I don't think I'd start him this week.
But do you think he's worth a roster spot at this point, especially with what the tight end landscape, what it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I would take a look at his schedule and then kind of see what you have. If you're just struggling, I don't think it's a bad option. Let's see here in the notes, he's had 5 targets in week 5 and 6 before they had the bye this past week. So he's definitely getting more involved. I think that passing game is just coming together. Ashton, he told everybody, we didn't believe him, that Kirk Cousins is a slow starter, but we should have known that him in his old Redskins days, that's just what he got accustomed to. So I think it's kind of coming together for them. But how about the other side of the tight end special here with Green Bay, Ashton? How do you feel about Robert Tonyan?
I think he's still an option. I mean, I'm not going to count anyone out with Aaron Rodgers here. I mean,
You hate Marquez Valdez-Scantling, though. You tell us that every time.
I do not like MVS right now. He's just hurt.
Fair.
He's just hurt me too much.
Fair.
I mean,
I think he's hurting everyone.
Every time I invest in him, I'm highly disappointed. And then
don't ever do it again.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna say that, and he's gonna go off for 30 points this game, and it's just gonna ruin me. But no, yes, I'm still a believer, and we've been calling him Tanyan. I've heard today that it's Tunyon.
Tunyon, yeah,
yes,
like an onion.
Like a Funyun.
That's
I didn't hear that.
I'll give credit to Fantasy Focus podcast for calling that out, and they basically said the same thing. So
I think I'm out on Robert Onion, or however you say his name. I told you before that when Adams was out, he was fine, but Adams is back and he's been nothing.
Good.
He's been terrible. Like, he hasn't done anything. So, I mean, like we said, it's hard to find a tight end every week. So, I mean, sure, he can be an option, but I think if I have him, I'm looking to find a better option, if at all possible.
So, who are your top 7 tight ends right now?
Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, Waller. Jonnu's had a bad week, but I still believe in Jonnu.
How about the Hawk strap?
Oh yeah, TJ
Hawkinson over Tunyon.
Oh, every day.
No, who's 7th?
100%.
How about Jimmy Grandpa?
If Noah Fant's healthy, I take Noah Fant. I take Hunter Henry. I take Jimmy Graham.
Rob Gronkowski. That's the big question.
I take Gronk in his last couple. If I have Gronk and Tunyon, I play Gronk.
Show's over, folks.
Well, see you guys later.
Finally playing Gronk.
That's what we need to get to.
Yeah. Even Mike Gesicki, I'm playing over the Onion.
No Logan Thomas?
No, Logan Thomas can go sit somewhere else.
Why do you take Gronkowski but not Logan Thomas?
Because I believe in Tom Brady more than Kyle Allen.
Oh,
And I believe in Tampa Bay's offense more.
That's fair.
There's actually a tight end that I really like that we'll talk about in one of these next couple matchups over him as well. But let's go. Oh, one more person I want to talk about, though. In the Green Bay side, Aaron Jones isn't 100% to play. We don't know yet. It does look like he's trending in the right direction, but he's not a for sure thing. If Aaron Jones is out, we're looking to start Jamal Williams.
If he's out?
If Jones is out.
Sure. Go ahead. Throw him up in there.
Yep. Yeah, I think Jamal Williams falls into a really, really solid category if Jones is out. We saw it last week. They were giving him the ball. He was getting targets all over the place. So he should be a great play if Jones is out. Let's jump on to the next one. Tennessee taking on Cincinnati. On the Tennessee side, Corey Davis is back from his COVID. Scored again. AJ Brown just looks dominant outside of game 1 where he looked banged up. Ever since he's returned, he's looked fantastic. But
what I said top 15 rest of the season.
We will see. He keeps
Here
it up.
It comes. It's coming.
But yeah, so the two big questions that people are wondering is, are you playing Corey Davis? Is he now someone that you're playing? Like, you look at what he's done every time he's played, and he's been good. Like, is Corey Davis someone that you consider playing now?
I'd still say matchup dependent for me, just because AJ Brown is a hoss dog. But maybe it'll take the attention away from Corey Davis. But I think Jonnu is obviously going to get back to where he was after a disappointing performance this past week. So I don't think Davis has that. Doesn't quite have that ceiling, but he has a decent safe floor. And against the Bengals, I think you could definitely play him this week.
Yep.
And Tannehill's a great play this week as well.
As far as Tennessee?
As far as Corey Davis.
Oh.
Would you play Corey Davis?
No.
I mean, look at Corey Davis played 4 games this year. He scored 13.6, 11.1, 9.4, and 12.5.
I know. I think he's had a great streak, but I feel like it's going to break, and I think it might break this week
against the Bengals.
Yes.
That defense.
All right.
Good job.
All right.
I
And
think
then-
this is a game where Johnny Smith can bounce back, and I think they're going to focus on AJ Brown too. So I think
Okay.
Davis might take. I mean, he might get a touchdown, but I think his
No.
consistency.
You said he won't get one, basically.
You
No, I
said
didn't
he's
say that.
terrible,
No.
which means everybody should start him because
So
he
you
will
would
be
start him.
number one overall wide receiver, like Tyler Lockett. All right, let's move on to the Cincinnati side. Joe Burrow looked fantastic last week. Just came out of nowhere and just was lighting it up, just throwing the ball, slinging it left, right, and center. We didn't see Joe Mixon last week, and he's just like Aaron Jones. He's not 100% a go this week. He is trending in the right direction, but they do have a bye next week. We saw it with the Saints earlier where they kept out Michael Thomas to go into the bye. They might do the same thing here with Joe Mixon. They paid him long term. If it's the safer route to keep him out this week to go into the bye and get that extra week of rest, they might lean that way. But I think Giovanni Bernard is in the same situation as Jamal Williams, where he should be slotted in as a good play if Mixon is out. Let's talk about the wide receivers now. AJ Green has been coming along these last couple weeks. T. Higgins has looked fantastic. Tyler Boyd looks great. Do you have them ranked in a certain fashion? Are they all kind of in that same category for you? How do you see these wide receivers?
I think I see it as I think I see Boyd. I don't. He's just been so consistent for me. T. Higgins has come on strong though. I think they're very close. I would say in my rankings, AJ Green's he's a little bit further back there, but he is getting more involved. I started AJ Green this past week. I told you guys about it, and it worked out. And so, I mean, I think on matchups, you can play all three. They're just throwing the ball so much. They're down a lot. And Joe Burrow has been a superstar. He's thrown for over 300 yards in 6 of his 8 games. And 2 of the ones he didn't were his first game of the year. And then against the Baltimore Ravens, where he just got pooped on. But that's not the issue here. I think you can start all 3 of them in the right matchups, but I would lean with Higgins and Boyd.
Boyd and Green are both getting the majority of the looks here. Higgins, I think, only had 5 targets. Boyd and Green, I think, both had 13 this week. I like Boyd as number 1. As far as opportunity, I'd have to go AJ Green, but I really like T. Higgins, and I think he's got a growing connection with Burrows. It's just a matter of
he's a big guy, dude.
Getting his volume up too.
Every time I see him catch a ball, I think he's a tight end, and it's
like a stick though. Like he's tall, but he just looks like straight slender, But I mean, he's getting it done. He's super quick. I think I agree that I think Boyd and Higgins are very, very similar, and then AJ Green at this point. Even though he's had 2 great weeks, I'm not balled in just yet.
Not after what he did.
I think I give Higgins a slight edge over Boyd though, just because I like the upside that T. Higgins can give you. But yeah, let's jump into the next one. There's only one player to talk about on one team.
I love how. Can we just stop for a second? I love how
changing, buddy.
Our show docs
every week.
It's New Jersey.
I'm gonna have to disagree with
New,
you guys.
It's New York, and it's only one name under that, and it's Crowder every week.
Guys, I think it's changing.
Classic.
No, do not.
Can I interest you in some LaMichael Pirine?
I don't want LaMichael Pirine.
We talked about it a little bit last
because he
week.
scored a touchdown, he still had 39 rushing yards. He's not worth talking about.
How many touches did he have, Stephen?
He had 11 touches. He had
and
11 carries.
A reception.
Okay, Frank Gore had 11 carries, and he had 60 yards. So Frank Gore still number 1.
So he was on the field for 60 or 70% of snaps, though. I think they're transitioning Old Man Gore out. Honestly, but I don't really want any part of that. But look, if you're in a pinch, I mean, honestly, KC's not great against the run. Or are they? Yeah, they let people run all over them, and then they tear them up in the secondary. Yeah, that's how they do it. But still, they're going to be behind the entire game. They're going to be throwing it all game. So
yeah,
if you got to play Pirine, I'm sorry for your fantasy team.
Yeah, no. Don't play Pirine.
Okay.
Jamison Crowder is my personal play. He's fine to plug in as your flex. He'll get the floor with his receptions. As long as you play in some sort of half point or PPR league. Standard, he's probably not very safe for you. Kansas City. Let's talk about Kansas City here.
One question that needs to be answered.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we know everybody else is great, but we've seen 1 week now of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and
In the
Le'Veon
snow,
Bell.
we have to note
It was in the snow. It was in the
Things were
snow.
a little weird.
But the carry breakdown: 8 carries for CEH, 6 carries for Le'Veon Bell. Was that a little bit more balanced than you guys expected? Was that kind of what you were expecting? What was your take on our first experience with CEH and Le'Veon Bell?
Go ahead, Ashton. I'll let you take this one.
It was both. They were low. I mean, I think low on both ends for that. I kind of expected a little bit more, but yeah, I'm still putting CEH in front of Bell in this situation, and until I'm shown otherwise.
So for me, what I'm thinking here this week is Bell is having a revenge game against the
This is
Jets.
what he wanted.
This is the only reason he went to the Kansas City Chiefs. No, who cares about a Super Bowl? This is it. He wanted the payback. This is where he could go to get it. I think they will probably give him some extra looks just because of that. I don't know why coaches seem to do that in revenge games. Like they care about it. I don't know.
Because they understand it. and it's so gratifying when you can say, look, you guys
I saw the value.
You mishandled this player. Suck. This is how you should have used them. And then boom, then you hand him an L. That's why.
Yeah, I think CEH is still going to – I think this was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. I still think CEH is going to lead that, but I think Bell's still going to get those valuable carries. I bet – you know what? I'm going to guarantee – this is a guarantee for everyone. Lev Bell's going to run a touchdown in this week.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
No. This is the week you probably Lev Bell. No, but I think this is the week that's going to show you more of what this backfield is going to look like. As you said, like
they'll be up.
This last week was in the snow. Like there's no certainties in the snow. You can't really see what that offense wants to do.
There's only angels, snow angels. Guarantee.
We remember back to when Le'Veon Bell was requesting the trade. At the time, the lineup, the next 3 games for the Jets was the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs. The 3 teams that Le'Veon Bell wanted to go to: the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. He wanted to play the Jets. He wanted to shove it in Adam Gase's face that he's a terrible coach and that he was still legit.
Correct.
So I think Le'Veon Bell is going to be telling Andy Reid, give me the damn ball. I will do wonders for you.
Don't play me the rest of the season. Just get me in this game.
Yeah, but no, I think honestly, we're going to see a little bit more of what this backfield is going to look like for Kansas City going on the rest of the season. After this game, I think we'll have a lot clearer of a picture. But I agree. I think CEH is still the more valuable back to own in this situation. But honestly, I think Bell is a good flex play this week. If you held on to Le'Veon Bell, I think you can play him in the flex. Let's jump on to the next one. We have the Colts taking on the Detroit Lions. The Colts are coming off their bye. We should see if they have switched anything up on the offensive side. These wide receivers, you don't want any piece of them.
Correct.
But the one guy I told you guys earlier, there was a tight end that I liked that I would take over the Onion Man. And Trey Burton is that guy. Trey Burton looks to be involved in this offense now. We've seen all these tight ends be involved in some sort of way. But if we go back 2 weeks now since they're coming off their bye, we saw 4 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown, as well as carry for 1 yard and a touchdown. So Trey Burton is a guy who they traded for, if you remember back to when he was with the Bears.
The Bears.
And this is a guy that, they wanted to bring in that they thought could be an impact player. Do you think Trey Burton is someone that you guys would play in the tight end landscape?
Yeah. He's gotten at least 5 targets the last 3 games. So that is something not a lot of tight ends get. But Mo Ali Cox, you gotta watch out for him. He's always
because he's
ready
been so great,
ready to make a big play when he's on the field. But yeah, I think Trey Burton, you could play him definitely this week against Detroit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So like you said, we're worried about all the wide receivers. Would you play Ty in a favorable matchup here?
Nope.
No.
Don't want him.
That's correct.
Want nothing to do with him.
What a disappointment that is, man. God, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
I took the chances on AJ Brown and T.Y. Hilton in so many leagues, and I have been so disappointed.
Yeah,
hopefully
I
got AJ Green back.
It turns it around the second half of the season here. Philip Rivers hopefully it gets a little big connection going with him. But we'll have to see. Let's talk about the Detroit side, though. We've seen, I guess, the emergence of DeAndre Swift. Looks like he's going to be the guy, hopefully, moving forward. Are you bought in that he is a locked and loaded, consistent running back now, or are you still worried about the fact that he's still a Lions running back?
Honestly, I think Carry On has fallen off. He's off the wagon, and it's just AP and Swift, and I think we're seeing Swift is definitely getting more involved, but AP's still getting his carries. I mean, they told him when he was coming over, like, hey, you're going to get some carries. Let's, and he's done. I mean, he's done pretty well with it. He's just not going to provide you any blow up games. But Swift, they try to get him involved in a lot more ways with the passing game, and that's where he's got the safer floor, and he has the higher ceiling. Honestly, it seems that way between him and AP right now. So I'm okay with starting Swift, but this week,
yeah, it's a tough matchup.
It's a tough matchup. So you're hoping that he can catch some passes and make something with that, because Indianapolis coming off a bye, nice and rested. It's going to be tough sledding. So I would, that if you can pivot, I would. Is Marvin Jones on your Dunzo list?
Well, he had his first nice week. Like this, we were all.
Are you trusting him after the nice week? And what does a nice week constitute?
A decent week. Like, I mean, this is the first game.
What were his points? I don't even remember. I think I started him in one.
He had 5 catches for 80 yards.
Okay.
10.5 points.
6 targets. Not bad. Okay. Against Atlanta, the worst defense in the world.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the best matchup you're ever going to get. So, you know.
So is it matchup based for you, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. 100% matchup based.
So not this matchup.
No. But with Swift, like, he still has yet to, like, have more carries than Adrian Peterson. So, I mean, he's giving you the points, but, I mean, you're holding on, hoping that they finally buy into him, they give him the workload, because if he's giving you this many points with the limited touches that he's getting, I mean, he should be great if they actually give him the ball. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see what that looks like. But this matchup, I would like to pivot if possible. And yeah, you're starting the Hawk strap. You're starting Kenny G. Congratulations if you have either of those guys.
Kenny G was something else.
Catches are insane, man. He jumps up in the air like 20 feet off the ground and just snags it. Next game we got here is the Pittsburgh Steelers, undefeated, last undefeated team, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Does that streak come to an end? Are they going to lose that undefeated title?
Go ahead, Ashton.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Pittsburgh holds it up. They keep it rolling.
Very interesting.
And are you still pumped up with Chase Claypool like you were?
What is your take now? Or how do you rank those 3 wide receivers now, bud? Here's the target.
But then again, Deontay Johnson was hobbled off at the end, but it's not known to be serious.
Yeah, the target breakdown from this week with Deontay Johnson, Juju, and Chase Claypool all playing. 14 targets for Juju, 1 target for Chase Claypool, and 15 targets for Deontay Johnson.
How many again was that for Claypool?
1.
And did he fumble that one?
He went backwards.
Did he have negative points this week?
It was -2 points.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling that was going to be your value. He's still going to have.
He was going to get 1 catch.
No, he's still
going to have.
I had a feeling he'd go -2 points.
No, he's still going to have great weeks now and again, but he is not a consistent wide receiver.
He'll be boom or bust.
Yeah, 100%.
With all 3 of them on the field, though. So I think that's kind of how you got to look at it. Whew.
Yeah, so
I mean, I don't necessarily put that on Chase Claypool this past week. I mean, he didn't get the looks.
No, it's he's got to be
that's his fault,
in
right? He's not getting
open.
No,
it's not his fault.
You got to get open to get the look.
He didn't.
You don't know if he wasn't or was open.
Juju got 14 targets. Johnson got 15 targets. It looked like they were getting open.
I think.
Okay, so here's the question then: if
they were triple teaming Chase Claypool.
If all 3 of them are healthy again, are you playing Chase Claypool?
Yeah, who you picked there?
You have him.
Yeah, I still might have to play him.
I'm not asking if you might play him. Are you happy to play Chase Claypool?
Against the Baltimore Ravens specifically this week. Would you play him or would you try to pivot if you could?
after this week, I'd want to
See it
hopefully,
some more.
yeah, I'd want to see it some more. I'd have to evaluate it a little bit more, see if it's just a bad week or, I'm concerned now with their intentions with Claypool and Juju. I think Deontay's established himself. If he's healthy, he's the guy.
Would you rather play him over DJ Shark again?
Yeah, you screwed me
Got
on that
him.
one. You screwed me hard on that one.
Sorry about that, friend.
Nah, it's okay. I'm really, really upset about it, but whatever.
Stefan didn't respond, so it's his fault too.
It is, yeah. I mean, I still believe in Chase Claypool. I mean, he's a phenomenal talent. I don't think he had the opportunity this week to really put it out there, but it's going to be a tough matchup against Baltimore. I mean, it's going to be a shootout, I think, but we'll see. I'm probably leaning towards going somewhere else with it.
Which running back do you guys want to start from the Baltimore Ravens side?
None of them.
Yeah, not in this matchup. If it was a different matchup, I might be considering it because Ingram might not be a go this week. It's looking like he's not going to play, so you're going to get a little bit of the Gus.
Ingram might be on the trading block.
Who wants him?
We'll see.
You don't think he'd have value somewhere else?
I don't know.
You don't think Ingram would hold value in another team?
I mean, there's just no value for the running back on the Baltimore Ravens right now. Is my point. Like, I don't know. It's sad.
Are you still fine starting Lamar Jackson here in this matchup?
This is a lineup question Jacob here has this week. I think I'm going to start Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson this week. I think I have to.
Lamar Jackson last year seemed to be matchup proof. Like he'd play the New England defense last year when they were just like they were crazy good. And he did just fine against them and seemed to always get it done. But this year, it looks to be a little bit different story with Lamar. So this one is a little bit more uncertain. And you don't start Hollywood this week, right? No way.
What?
You don't start Hollywood Brown this week, right?
Devin Bush out. I think the only weak spot on the Pittsburgh Steelers, like they don't obviously. I think passing is the only thing you can do because you're normally behind, and they're like the 19th ranked team allowing fantasy points to wide receivers. So
Lamar Jackson.
But the question is Lamar Jackson gonna be throwing the ball accurately?
Yeah,
and no one knows the answer to that question.
Aren't high enough to sustain.
What's up?
Lamar Jackson hasn't thrown over 200 yards in the last 4 weeks. Like, if your quarterback's not throwing enough yards, you can't sustain a wide receiver, which is the only concern. And this is, a really good defense. It's too risky for me, I think.
Well, he was 7 yards short against Washington. I mean, he still put up 25 points.
He's an NFL quarterback and considered one of the best. Like every NFL quarterback throws over 200 yards. Like, if you throw
not Lamar Jackson. Let's be fair to Lamar. He's a runner. That's why he is.
Yeah, but we're talking about his wide receiver here as a fantasy option.
I think he can support one.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is his guy.
Yeah, I was going to ask, who would you rather start, Hollywood or Mark Andrews?
100% Mark Andrews.
Oh yeah,
not even close.
He's the constant touchdown red zone guy. So, but I mean, like I said, I mean, we just saw them allow 40 points to the Tennessee wide receivers. Okay. So it's like, it really comes down to, is Lamar Jackson going to throw the ball and is he going to throw it accurately? We haven't seen him do it. Maybe the bye week, they worked on some mechanics or something. That's what you got to hope for. I wouldn't completely say I'm benching Hollywood this week.
Okay.
But yeah, running backs, see you.
Okay. Let's jump on to the next matchup here. We got the LA Rams taking on the Miami Dolphins. On the Dolphins side, you're going to see the first game with Tua starting. This was a shaky move as Miami was winning. Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing well, but they're going the Tua way. So it seemed to be that was what they had planned on the whole way. They were coming off their bye. They were going to get Tua more involved. Now it's time. So on the Miami side, how do you now value those options? Do you downgrade Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki? Is Preston Williams just now nothing to you? Is he irrelevant? Does Myles Gaskin get even more work? What is y'all's thoughts on this offense?
Man, it's tough to say, honestly, with the passing side of it. I think Parker's still gonna be fine, but I'm worried about Gesicki. I'm worried about Preston Williams, and I don't know. Gesicki, maybe he'll get some more dump offs. Gaskin he'll probably I think his value will go up a little bit. But they do have a tough matchup with LA here. Not your favorite first game with Aaron Donald going to be all up in your grills the entire game, more than likely. We saw that with Nick Foles last night. That's kind of how I mean, you kind of want to wait and see, but at the same time, I mean, I think you can start Devontae Parker. I kind of trust that a little bit.
Yeah, see, I don't think I'd play Parker this week. I mean, you're going to get Jalen Ramsey, who just shut down for the most part Allen Robinson for most of the game until the last 2 drives of the game. And now you have a rookie quarterback coming in. You don't know what he's going to do with it. I would look to not play Devontae Parker if at all possible. I think Mike Gesicki is the one I'm leaning more to, especially for this first game. I think he's just going to go with a safer option who's not covered by Jalen Ramsey. But would you at all consider playing Tua?
Probably not the first game. I don't think I could.
Tough matchup.
I don't think I could do it.
Okay. All right, let's go over to the Rams side of the ball then. I guess the only question, I mean, look, Kupp and Woods didn't have good games, but you probably continue to
That was
play
one of their
them.
better combo games.
For Woods and Kupp?
They both had 8 points at least?
No, they played terribly.
I thought Kupp had
Woods,
9 points.
Woods fumbled the ball.
I didn't tell him to do that. But he was playing Chicago, so that's what you kind of got to look at. They're playing Miami. Xavier Howard and Byron Jones have been shutting people down, though.
Yep.
I mean, what do you? I'm worried about Kupp. I have him. I benched him, and then he had one of his better games. But other than that, I mean, are you worried about Woods really, or what do you? I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. I think if you have Woods or Kupp, I think you continue to play him. This is Woods' worst game of the season. He had 4 points. So I don't think you have concern because he's just too big a part of the offense. But what about the running back situation here? Because we thought that we had a sure thing in Darrell Henderson, and then for some reason Malcolm Brown gets a touchdown. Cam Akers looks to be no longer involved in this offense. Didn't get a single carry. I think at this point you can get rid of him unless you have a dynasty league. You can hold on to him. But with the Henderson Malcolm Brown thing, do you still have 100% confidence in Henderson as the lead guy?
Go ahead, Ashton. Tear it up.
No. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's too unpredictable right now to see how it's going to roll out. I'm not relying a lot on this Rams backfield. I would look to. I mean, if you can shift somewhere where this week, if you could go after Chase Edmonds and start Chase Edmonds, I'd much rather have that situation than relying on the Rams backfield right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So for me, I still think Henderson is 100% the main guy you want to start. Well, I think what you saw was they were taking turns on drives is what it looked like, but it ended up being okay. I mean, it wasn't terrible nights for both of them. Obviously the touchdown helped, but Darrell Henderson had 15 carries. There's 64 yards. Let's say he did fall into the end zone and Malcolm Brown didn't, but they're not really too involved in the passing game, which kind of limits their value. But Darrell Henderson did have 2 catches, so that gave you a little something. So I think Henderson is the lead.
Yep.
If I'm going to play one of the two, it's going to be Henderson.
Right.
No way about it. But yeah, I mean, Gaskin. Do you want to start him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's a tough matchup right now, but
a lot of touches though. Got to touch that ball, baby.
But he can play, man. I was a little hesitant with him at first, but man, he's proven to be a tough player. I like him a lot.
Good.
Let's jump into this last matchup for this show. We have the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what's happening with New England's offense, but it doesn't look
I don't
great.
want any part of it. I'll tell you that.
They benched Cam after he threw 3 interceptions for Jared Stidham, who didn't look any better. So,
Hmm.
do you want to start anybody in New England? This should be a pretty simple question. We could just cruise through New England.
I mean, it's actually not a bad matchup. Like surprisingly, you didn't think we'd be saying that coming into this year how Buffalo's defense was last year. But golly day, what can you do? New England has looked atrocious. I mean, Cam's obviously the starter. Belichick said that. Wanted to get Stidham. The game was gone. It was lost. So I wanted to get Stidham out there. I don't want to start anyone on New England side. Maybe James White is like the only somewhat, but he put up a
He did nothing.
duker. Yeah, he did a little dookie this week, but it was a terrible game script. They were awful. I'm not starting anyone on that side this week.
It was the worst loss in Belichick history with New England, right? And
Yeah,
The ugliest. That's
20 years. It's a tough game to bounce back from, but I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick lit a fire and Cam hates feeling the way he felt. You could see it on his face, getting benched, knowing that
win this game
got away from him. I think the Bills will win it, but I would not be shocked if I'm 100% wrong on this and Belichick rallies up and comes out with a W. I have a hard time really counting out Belichick, no matter who he's got playing for him.
He's good. He's a good coach, great coach.
But it's been painfully obvious that they are a different team without Brady.
Yeah.
So
how about for Buffalo? What do you guys got?
Yes, the question is Josh Allen. Like, it looks like two different Josh Allens now. Like, we've seen the Josh Allen that started the season was one of the top two fantasy quarterbacks you could have. And then the last three games, you got 16, 15, and 16. Like, which Josh Allen do you think is the one that we're going to see rest of the season?
I'm hoping the better Josh.
I'm hoping the better because I have
him in 2 leagues. So if he screws the pooch again, I'm going to be pretty upset. Jacob and I had a conversation about this earlier today. I called him in the car. I was venting about multiple fantasy problems I was having, but Josh Allen came up and that he needs to. I don't know. He had a few interceptions the past few games that were very questionable. There was one or two that didn't seem to be his fault, but their decision making still is a little bit of a concern of mine. But he doesn't have like a massive, like solid receiving core. Beasley's really stepped up. Stephon Diggs is phenomenal, but
when John Brown's out, something just seems off with the offense. I think that's what we're seeing. The Kansas City game, I think you can throw that one out, and that was his lowest game at 15 points. That was a rainy, crappy day.
It was a crappy night. Yeah.
And the Tennessee game was a wild one. Came down
He
to
just
the
didn't
wire.
look good in Tennessee.
Yeah, and then this past week he throws for 307 yards. He just didn't get the touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he had 11 carries for 61 yards. He's always going to have that floor. This is going to be a tough matchup. If you have him, I think you have to start him. And I think the baseline is what we've seen the past 3 weeks is 15, 16 points. But Seattle coming up, Arizona coming up, but then the playoffs don't look good. I don't know.
Is John Brown coming back?
He's still questionable with the knee injury. We're not 100% sure that he's going to be able to come back. But with knees, there's always that chance of getting injured again. So,
if John Brown's out, how do you feel about Beasley this week?
I love Beasley now.
Beasley
He's
should
my
be a
best
great
friend.
Yeah, me too. Good.
Yeah, you're still obviously playing Diggs. But with the running backs, with Singletary and Moss, you don't want any piece of them now that Moss is playing again?
Not in this matchup either.
Yep. All right, well, that does it for our first half of matchups. We'll cover the second half on next show. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we sign off?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, if you have any lineup questions, make sure to send us to them on our socials before our next episode, and we'll include them in our listener lineup questions.
All righty.
Goodbye.